Hi, it's my first video on this channel. I'm from Russia and I want to tell you how I stay connected to the internet from here. But there are some things I want to clarify right away. Yeah, I know I'm bad at English, so another reason for me to start this channel was to practice my speaking skills. I hope it will be better over time. I also have subtitles if you need to. But it's not the only thing I'm bad with. On issue with VPN, I struggle with technical side, so I want to focus more on my personal experience. Okay, if you were already in Russia when you faced first restrictions, if you didn't come from other country, first thing you're going to experience, you have only bank account which work in Russia. And I guess story how I got international bank account was separate video. But yeah, it's become a turning point in obtaining stable connection. My first solutions were around services I can use without this bank card. The most popular solution back then was free VPN apps. Yeah, there is huge problem with privacy, because owners of these apps are not accountable about usage of your data due model of monetization. I personally was skeptical to use them, but truth is, if you want to look for other ways to bypass restrictions, in most cases you need already turn one VPN on. Other problem with free apps, everyone needs them at the same time, which affects speed. Usually they use same IPs to connect a lot of people, and this might look suspicious for some websites. So it also doesn't lead to my goal, freely browse the global internet. So my next step was to look at VPN services I can pay for with my Russian bank card. Some of the services were discussed or advertised across different opposition media. In general, a lot of services started to appear because obviously more people needed them. But of course everything turns out not as good as it seems to be. One of my problems with these solutions is that I don't really want to pay for VPN through my Russian bank account. Also, I don't see that there's real problem with this, but I just had this aspect in my head. Second, their business model. It's even embarrassing for me that I paid for that for a couple of months. But okay, I paid that company can rent the server and they can purchase my Russian bank card. Service I personally paid for used open source client, and they just changed accent color and images to ones with their branding. I found out it when I reached out support, and their solution for my problem was provide me original VPN client without their branding. And their expertise was so low that they not even sure that their changings wasn't source of problem. I could say it was effortless work, but after the time, because restrictions were updated too fast, VPN services appearances were reduced to Telegram bot, which provides key to use it with open source client, and they were free for personal usage. Why I need an extra step to use them? Okay, I was thinking that maybe it will be complicated to manage server on my own. When I see black terminal, I just, okay, it's something for professionals, better not to touch it. But the thing is, these VPN clients were made to be easy to use, so a lot of people actually can set them up. Whole server management was to configure firewall. Turns out, if you understand roughly how things work on Windows, you can imagine them while using terminal. Like, okay, this command open folder, this create file, etc. And companies which provide service for individual users actually have a lot of simple instructions. Like, okay, it's not enough for serious projects, but for something I needed, this understanding more than is necessary. So, well, is there other problem with Russian VPNs except their origin? I see that really weak point, maybe not protocol or client, but the way how data about accounts stored. And I discovered recently while I was recheck information for this video that there was a lot of controversy around some solution provided by one opposition group. I missed this because I already get my server, so I wasn't even interested certain other options. Issue with them was that one oppositioner created projects which have to help people create their own VPNs. He provided this service to the speakers he knows from the same political wing. Problem with this case is that all of these new VPNs have to narrow range of IP addresses. Servers were rented from the same company, and the same companies were processing payments for each so-called new VPN. So it's kinda white label business model. And yeah, modern political reality is a room of broken mirrors. So after this discussion started, each of these speakers started yapping why people who noticed that are dishonest. But we can't solve this situation aside political views. This business model just not diversified enough to be able to provide stable connection for a long time. For our government, that's enough just restrict one node. For example, ban this range of IP addresses where VPN hosted. At this point, it has apparently become clear that I don't see ready-to-use VPNs as a good solution. So what can we do in this situation? And there is option which written between lines. It's self-hosted VPN. But according to the problem statement, on this step I still able make payments only within Russia. So first I started to look up something which purchased my card. This was Russian companies which provide service outside of Russia. But yeah, again, as you might guess, I also didn't have much trust on this option. Usually, tech businesses in my country split company into two parts, one in Russia and the other one within European Union. So, Russian branch able to connect payment system to purchase payments, and outside branch able to rent servers. If my goal to have enough stable connection, I can't really rely on that Russian origin company will be able to rent servers in a long run. So kinda compromising will be get server from company registered in Kazakhstan, but they will have branch in other country. And it became my choice. But turns out owner was in Russia and he was arrested later, which affected performance of the company. Other problem with Russian origin tech companies, since 2014 it's become unspoken rule that owners have to cooperate with government in order to obtain information about users. And a bit later we also get laws which serve this idea. On the other side, companies which not intended to work in Russia, what became explicated position many of them, don't have to serve the ideas of my government. I mean, yeah, they apparently have to provide some of information to government within jurisdictions they located, but it's not really my concern, and also not something I can avoid entirely. So get an international bank account become my main goal in order to obtain stable connection. I don't really need it for anything else. Okay, is there anything besides VPNs to bypass restrictions? Actually, yes, thanks to the people who were able to create these solutions. This thing hard to explain for me. Let's do it this way. If you happen to be an engineer, I'll leave links on these projects on GitHub. And here I'll explain it most primitive way, cause it's the only way I able to. These two projects are called Zapret and GoodbayDPI. It works completely different compared to VPNs. Restrictions in my country technically organized through Deep Packet Inspection or DPI. Each IPS mandatory to have equipment which managed by government agency. Before war started, pattern of implementing blocks was that IPS get list of IPs or domains they have to restrict connection. And we actually had a lot of small providers, so part of the restrictions wasn't implemented equally because some IPs were a bit easy about it. Now they don't perform this function at all. In present times, if there is any new restriction, list of blocked services update automatically, straight from the agency to equipment they control. So these two projects make traffic unrecognizable through DPI by fragmenting analyzing, faking, or modifying data packets. Is there any problem with it? Actually, not much, to be honest. I really like these projects and they work, but we will discuss a bit of inconvenience with them. I can use them only on PC, so for phone I still need VPN. And back to the times I was looking for VPN, we didn't have much restrictions, and GoodbayDPI was working only to bypass blocks of YouTube and Discord. But in present times, it's not the issue. Developers really fast update lists of services we're looking to access. There's only one thing, that this way to avoid restrictions, don't change IP. And you can stack upon not government restrictions, but decisions on the side of private services don't allow connection with Russian IP. But it's really nice to have an option that technically works differently than VPN. Also, funny thing, I need VPN to download something from GitHub, so I keep updated copies of these projects on my PC, just in case. What has changed when I finally got my international bank card? First of all, I shit my pants, because it just happened to me. I never was outside of my country before, like actually most of my fellow citizens. So I barely had idea how border control looks like, especially in current circumstances. But everything turned out fine, just a bit worrisome. And also, it was a bit unusual to use bank service in other country. So, yeah, how this miracle, like international banking, helps with my connection? As I mentioned earlier in this video, there's potentially a problem to use services which accept Russian bank cards, because it is not clear on which conditions they're able to do so and what amount of information my government wants to have from them. And I'm trying to think a bit ahead. At the current moment, it's legal to use VPN as a technology in my country, but illegal to advertise it or provide information how bypass blocks in general. So I don't really feel comfortable to use Russian services to host VPN. But at the moment, there's not real threat with this one, or I just don't know about that. Anyway, having my options definitely not doing situation worse. Other thing which I was thinking about in this case, that if I want human-like experience with global internet, it will be nice to have an option to pay for subscription. But I give up on this one. There's no content I want to purchase subscription to, honestly. I will better rent another server and have fun with this. And also, with this bank card, I can pay for different VPNs. But when I know how simple and funny, in some sense, it is to have self-hosted VPN, no way I will pay for ready-to-use VPNs again. Okay, we nailed it with the bank card. Is there anything else? Of course, it's not even the end of the video. We have to figure out these protocols, and I was thinking that I have to choose one I like. I didn't even know criteria for my choice, because I have to remind you, I'm far away from IT. So I was like, I'll just check reviews and I'll choose something anyway. And something happened I was never able to predict. Turns out that my government able to ban VPN protocols itself. I didn't even know it was possible. Okay, the thing is, through deep packet inspection, information about encrypted data packets become recognizable. I'm sorry, I'm not really able to explain this better, I barely understand this myself. So next, when it comes to the need to choose one, as I see from general experience with VPNs in my country, usually shadow socks and reality mostly fine with some exceptions, because Russia damn huge country. So realization of the blocks in practice can be a bit different, even that laws the same. The worst options to bypass blocks will be WireGuard and OpenVPN. As much as I know, they doing fine with data encryption, but they didn't have idea to bypass blocks. But ShadowSocks was made for this. Original developer of the project was from China, but he has to stop work on the project himself. And he also emphasizes that this protocol not orientated on better encryption, but on resistance to the restrictions. I personally use shadow socks through a really simple client Outline, which was made by Jigsaw company. It's part of Alphabet if you need this information. And also reason why I'm not inclined anymore to use ready-to-use VPN solutions, that when I realized principle why some VPNs didn't work, I also became want to see what protocols they use. And you know what? In most cases, I didn't see this information. Also, it becomes funny to me to see instructions for tourists that want visit China, that none of them said anything about protocols. They just go, just set up all VPNs you see in market or something. I personally don't know for sure which method better exactly for China, but I already feel a bit dishonesty where people can't understand or explain situation with protocols. And other funny thing is that when I'm trying to find something about VPNs, there is always article or video with referral links on the same free VPNs. And some of these creators even say that these VPNs work in Russia or China. I only can say about my country, and the key in this situation is protocol, not VPN itself. Besides protocol, I also needed the server, so on this step I encountered that some of the providers want my ID or any kind of additional information. Anyway, my location did it worse. And when I struggled with configuration of my server, keeping in the mind that more likely it's my mistake than anything else, I found out that my government also bans IPs of popular server providers, because it's known for them that people started to use self-hosted VPNs. And server management. Actually, I don't even want to talk about this. I really was thinking that it will be most complicated part, but turns out it not. I needed like 5 commands which I can easily Google. So now I have stable enough connection to the global internet. It was an interesting experience, I have to say. If I won't give up on this channel, see you on the next video. I really appreciate if you watched whole thing through.